This is a hard world to grow up in. This is, I think, maybe in the history of mankind, this might be the hardest time that kids have had to grow up in.
Us parents have to realize that we're just teenagers and growing up. And we need a lot of attention and love and to build our lives.
Even now, it's hard, like they finally realize that it was my depression that caused me to be anorexic.
The depression that can lead to suicide, it's feeling that you don't belong anywhere, you're not worth anything, no one cares about you because you're not worth caring about.
We've all got real problems, but can't always solve them. We need someone to listen, cause we all need some talking.
Some try to ignore, but we've got to explore. We cannot hide it all away, let's do this together.
Well, I'll talk to you,
and you'll talk to me.
We've got to reach out to set ourselves free. Degrassi talks.
Coast to coast, we hear real stories from real people.
Degrassi talks. Degrassi listens.
You're not alone, let's do this together.
Degrassi talks.
I'm depressed. Now, how many times have we heard ourselves say that? And there's a lot to get depressed about. Parents, exams, the environment. I'm Pat Mastriani. My Degrassi character, Joey, got depressed when he was dumped by his girlfriend, Caitlin. Now, most of us can just bounce back from a depression, but some of us take it really hard. We become sick, even suicidal. Suicide is a major cause of death for teenagers from 15 to 19. Now, we've traveled from coast to coast to find out what gets you down and how you deal with your depression.
Yeah?
Rolling.
This is Morning Day Shock for Degrassi Talks.
And could you tell me what gets you down?
Weather. Rainy weather, sometimes, yeah, that gets me down.
Just news.
I guess basically boyfriends. They're such a pain.
Losing a girlfriend. Yeah, a girlfriend that I was going out with for quite a while.
So?
So, I think we should stop seeing each other.
Is this because of that Claude guy?
Claude.
You're not gonna go out with him, are you?
It just happened so quickly, and it hits you all of a sudden. And when it first happens, you know, you think, well, geez, I'll bounce back in a little while. You know, it won't take long. And then all of a sudden, you finally realize, yeah, that, you know, geez, it wasn't as easy as you thought.
Well, I guess the world we live in it's not too perfect. So things that happen around us sort of, you know, they can bring you down.
The way that people really don't care about the environment as much as other people should, and how they're letting everything just go to waste, and they don't realize that sooner or later, the earth is just going to be, you know, more trash than it is now.
When I moved here in 1977, this was the most beautiful place that I'd ever seen.
We went to Alberta to talk
The
to
water
Dean.
was really clear.
He lives on the Cold Lake First Nation Reserve.
And now there's hardly, you know, it's not very often that I see a deer. Or bears, there used to be a lot of bears here, and now there aren't as many.
Why do you think this has happened?
Well, what happened was, about the time I moved back, they started building heavy oil sands projects around this lake and around this area. And with that came an influx of people as well as industry. And since that time, when they started heavy usage of the oil and that's when I've noticed how the environment has been changing very quickly. Over here, you can still swim in this lake. But what scares me is the fact that if this pollution continues, that maybe someday we won't be able to.
Yeah.
And it really depresses me, you know. A lot of times when I think about it, I wonder, you know, how long does it have to continue, and is it going to get better?
Or is it going to get worse?
Yeah, or is it going to get worse, you know? If the land is polluted and destroyed, you know, how are we going to grow food? Like, maybe it might be just fine for my whole lifetime. But what if I'm contributing to this destruction of the earth? What about my children?
What makes you depressed?
Just
Basically, rejection and failures and not being accepted by people.
Sometimes at schools there's the in crowd and then there's the out crowd, and if you're not in the in crowd, then the in crowd puts you down and all that.
Some people don't accept the way you are or the way you appear or the way you look, etc., etc. And you start to feel like alone, down, feel like nobody likes you. You feel that people just can't accept you for who you are. They're judging the book by the cover.
Well, it was really traumatic. I mean, here I was in school, you know, I was Chinese and some people held that against me. And I was gay and a lot of people held that against me. And I wasn't athletic, which was a thing to be, and people held that against me. And, you know, I was getting good marks in school, and I don't know why, but people hold that against you too. So it all came to a head, and all I had was a feeling that I didn't fit in anywhere, that I didn't really belong here at all. For me, I guess part of it was I was struggling to find my place in society, and everywhere I looked, there was nowhere for me. Every door I tried to open was shut again. And until I finally found a door that opened and stayed open for me, I thought that I was completely worthless.
Why do you think a lot of teenagers have such a low self-esteem?
Probably because people are always looking, advertising and stuff. People, saying, oh, this is the person to be, this is what you want to be this, and people start accepting that as, the standard. And when people aren't accepted as that or aren't that, then they start feeling depressed.
Yeah, I used to buy a lot of Vogue magazines and fashion magazines, and I kind of idolized the models. Like, they had a lot of pictures of models in bathing suits, and I think, wow, I really idolized them, and that's what I wanted to look like, because they look so perfect.
To become perfect, Linda began to starve herself. She's an anorexic. She suffers from low self-esteem.
This is a really beautiful house. Thanks. The only thing is, everything has to be so perfect. No dust on the countertops, no feet on the sofa, and the carpets have to be vacuumed every day. I mean, I'd go to school and I'd have all those pressures, and then I'd come home and I'd have the pressure of keeping my parents happy. And I was trying to do so much, and it was just wearing me out.
What kind of pressures were you subjected to?
I just thought I wasn't, if I acted like me, I didn't think I was an interesting person. I thought if I act like me, I don't think anybody's gonna like it.
Your parents tell you that you should, be, really smart in school, or the kids don't think you're cool enough, and you have all these conflicting ideas about what you're supposed to be, and you just can't be at all.
What about your parents? Do you have a good relationship with your parents?
It's okay. I can talk to them, but I don't know, I don't feel as close as I would want to be.
It's just my mom and I now. We don't get along at all. At all. We don't speak. We're acquaintances basically right now, and it's really hard because you need the support from your parents to get through things.
I used to stay in my room for hours and hours and just be alone with myself in Montreal. So I was really depressed, and I think I really needed to talk to my parents, but they weren't a talkative person because they always thought it didn't make sense. So I stopped talking to them. And I guess that's happens to a lot of teenagers. Their parents either put them down or tell them they're no good in a way that, not by speaking, but by showing. And I feel that that's not very good. It's okay, hon, it's okay.
Where's her bib?
In Red Deer, I visited Carol, Dawn, and their new baby.
She's starting to eat my shirt here.
Carol has been severely depressed since she was a little girl.
She's eating.
And in a sense, I wish my father would have said, I am pretty, and I feel that, not my mom never said very much, but I feel that if a guy says it to me, it's a whole different feeling. And I think I needed it from my father.
What do you do when you get depressed?
Sometimes talk to my parents or talk to my girlfriend or whatever. Whoever will listen.
I sit there.
You just sit there? Why do you just sit there?
Because I'm depressed. I just sit there.
For how long do you just sit there?
Oh, for, I don't know, days.
There's a difference between feeling depressed for a few days and feeling depressed for long periods of time. If you feel depressed for more than 2 weeks, it could be serious.
How long were you in the hospital for?
I was in the hospital the first time I went in for 4 months. And those 4 months, they were just treating my eating and getting my weight up. When I had a relapse, that's when they found out that it was more than just eating, that it was my depression that caused me to be anorexic. Like they were always saying, oh, just eat and everything will be okay. But okay, I'd gain the weight, but I still wouldn't be happy.
So what do you do when you're depressed?
I just sort of mope around, do nothing, yell at people.
I don't know. I tried to get myself out of depression by going down to Saskatchewan to a private school, but that made me even worse.
I moved to Edmonton, and I felt very lost because I didn't have any close friends there. And also I started going to university, and the whole university environment to me was foreign. I didn't really understand it. That I had a lot of feelings were starting to surface from within me. A lot of anger, a lot of sadness, a lot of pain. And I didn't know where it was coming from. I didn't know why I was feeling the way I was feeling.
How did you feel when you were really depressed?
It was a feeling of being in pain all the time. An agony. It was just hurting. I was really hurting inside. And I felt alone and helpless, powerless. And I just felt no hope. You know, I just wanted to die.
When I am really in deep depressions, I try to get attention anyway. I've even been very violent with Dawn sometimes because I feel like I need hugs and stuff like that. You know, I was really down. I wanted to jump off a bridge. I wanted to do anything because I didn't really care about myself. I always thought my parents didn't care for myself, well, care for me in any way. So I felt that my best bet was just to leave, you know, leave everybody alone. That I wouldn't have to be worrying anybody and nobody had to take sides and then my parents would be free from me, you know, from bothering them and making them sad and hurting them.
What advice would you offer a friend who's like seriously depressed, like even contemplating suicide?
Contemplating suicide, wow. Talk to me.
Suicidal, well, I tried to discuss it with him first and see what actually the problem is. And if there was nothing I could sort out with him, then I would go to an adult also.
Yeah, Sean was extremely
8 months ago, Derek's younger brother committed suicide. He suffered from a depression due to a chemical imbalance. Stefan talked to Derek in Toronto.
I think it's very frustrating to be when you're close to somebody that is really depressed. Because when you sit with them and you talk to them, when they're that low and they're feeling that down, they don't like to let any of the good feelings come in.
Were you aware of how depressed he was?
Well, the day before Sean committed suicide, he phoned me and he left a message on my machine and he sounded really up and was, "Hi Dee, how's it going? And sorry I missed you, sorry you weren't at home, and I'll give you a call later, see you later, guy." And you know, there would be no way of telling from the phone message. And that was the last I heard of him.
It's for you.
Would you please leave me alone?
Don't worry. I won't bother you anymore.
Good.
I just came to say goodbye.
Why? Where are you going? What a creep. Don't worry about it.
You all right?
I can't imagine what it'd be like, for real, but my character on the show, when he found a suicide victim, he felt a lot of guilt because of it. He felt that if he was there a minute earlier, he might have been able to do something about it. Do you feel any guilt?
It was an incredible amount of guilt. You think back to the times when you were fighting, when you were young, arguments, things you said to each other, cruel things. You feel guilty. You think that maybe somehow some of those things you said stuck with them, and that was one of the reasons, one of the things that bothered them and pushed them to make that decision to commit suicide. But I think to myself, he's looking down on me, and I don't think he'd want me to harbor a ton of guilt or bad feelings over this.
Did you love your brother?
I loved him very much.
At our school, just a little while ago, one of my friends killed himself, and everybody's been really upset about it. It was really hard to handle. Everybody has been depressed for a long time about that.
Yeah. I tell them that it's not a way out, and it's not fair for them because not only would they be hurting themselves, but they would hurting me and their parents and their friends and people they don't even think care, but a lot of people care.
What I have to live for is my baby, my boyfriend. So we're supposed to get married next month, so it will be nice. Hopefully things work out. And hopefully this depression will get better and, you know. So I just want this depression not to bother my life anymore.
Carol had been in and out of hospital fighting depression for most of her life. On May 15th, 1991, Carol took an overdose of pills. She committed suicide.
Biggest dream I think that was lost to me when Carol died was our plans to get married. We'd been planning it, and in fact, my dad was even fixing up the yard because we were going to have it at his place. So he'd gone and he was redoing the whole yard and planting flowers and everything so that they'd all be in blossom by the time we had the wedding and everything. And you know, we'd finally set the date. We were going to go out and buy invitations and everything. And now that's all gone. The thing I miss the most is just being with her. Laying beside her, you know, whether laying in bed when we're going to sleep or laying on the grass, either at night watching the stars or during the day. There's a lot to miss about her. So many things, just being with her.
Do you ever feel mad or angry at times?
I feel anger at her for what she did, disappointed for what she did. I don't know, it's really hard when you lose someone, especially when you've worked so hard to get your life together. When everyone kept telling us the odds are against you, you're not going to make it, you're going to lose the baby. You know, if you get married, you'll be divorced within a year, you know. And no, we said, no, we're going to prove you all wrong. We can do this. And then to have all those dreams just shattered in an instant, it's hard.
I couldn't believe how sad and angry I felt when I was talking to Don. I could really feel his pain. Look, if you're experiencing depression, Please, find someone to talk to. There are people who want to listen.
In grade 12, I eventually got up the courage to talk to a friend about being gay. A lot of kids teased him because he and his girlfriend, you know, were very close and they're sort of joined at the hip. And they're really so supportive. And they're the first people my age that I managed to tell who didn't hold it against me. And what I found is that the only way to do it is to just be yourself, because the people who like you for what you pretend to be aren't really your friends anyway. The people who like you no matter who you are the people who are your real friends.
Do you ever get depressed?
Well, I'm just a happy girl, so I don't really get depressed because I have wonderful friends and I have a wonderful family.
What do you do to get yourself out of a depression?
Well, there's lots of things to do. I think the best recommendation is to get lots of exercise and relax. Like reading helps, suntanning on the beach.
I like to talk to somebody when I get depressed. Like talk to one of my best friends and tell them what's going on. Maybe they can help me out.
To pick myself out of depression, I usually talk to my parents or friends or even teachers, someone close.
I've finally realized that it's okay to talk to your parents because they're on your side.
We only had one family meeting, and it was amazing how much it helped me. Everything, not everything, but a lot of things came out in the open.
I started to learn about spirituality. And I started to learn that I had to do some things in order to get some help. You know, that I had to ask for it. You know, and not only that, but I had to work at it. And then go about and trying to change what I could change. You know, try to change the way that I was living. And try to change the way that I was thinking. You know, try to change the way that I was feeling. And I found that once that was established, then that's when I began to grow.
We've all got real problems, but can't always solve them. We need someone to listen, cause we all need some talking.
Some try to ignore, but we've got to explore. We cannot hide it all away, let's do this together.
Whoa, I'll talk to you,
and you'll talk to me. We've got to reach out to set ourselves free. Degrassi talks, coast to coast. We hear real stories from real people. Degrassi talks.
Degrassi listens.
You're not alone, let's do this together. Degrassi talks.